Hello everyone, this is Commander Trium, talking to you once again from the Elite Dangerous universe. And tonight, we continue our efforts in the deep mining activity, I think, for the most part, unless the Zargoids need a smackdown. We also have some ore already loaded up, so we will have to visit a starport at some point in the near future. Isn't that interesting? The starport has no name. I don't think I've ever seen the ship up this close before. It's huge. There's 2 decks separating. Looks like it has about the same number of decks as the Anaconda overall. Anyway, continuing our journey. Once we have clicked on the appropriate window, we don't have long this evening. Excuse me. It seems I'm starting to suffer from a bit of a cold. First things first, we do have to have a look at Galnet and see what news there is today. Just make sure the ship is properly crewed. It is. Erica Frederick is in her seat. Correct. Now consulting Galnet, the Galactic News Network. And we have a stolen ship.
Ship stolen from Starport. An independent pilot's ship has been stolen from a Starport hangar in the Vega system. The ship's owner, Commander Bjorn Lennox, told Vox Galactica, "I docked my Diamondback Explorer at Fort Dixon for some routine maintenance, and to enjoy a short break following a deep space exploration voyage. When I went back to the landing pad, I discovered the hangar was empty and my ship had gone missing." The Starport issued a statement from Security Chief Misaki Sanders. "We are at a loss to explain how the thief managed to hijack our security network, gain entry to a docked and sealed ship, and override authorization checks to fly out of the station unchallenged. Nearby systems have been alerted and we are collecting leads to track down the stolen vessel. In the meantime, we are conducting an inquiry into how these breaches of docking bay protocols could have occurred."
Isn't that neat? Okay, let's have a look at the galaxy map. and see what we can see. Dargoids are still in... Wow, they didn't move. Well, that's interesting. We do have a friend logged in. Let's go have a look. The Gliza 76 system. 8 dogs. Haven't seen him on in a while. Another one has been found in Epsilon Serpentis. Loston. And it looks like 42, no, the Heidi sector. We've got a contact, we know. Horsagobchul. Also some interest tonight, or earlier today, during a quick visit, what was intended as to be a quick visit to the Discord servers, I ran into someone on one of the elite channels, none other than Harry Potter. Of course, Harry Potter was responsible for the assassination of Senator Salome in one of the previous story arcs. Well, the only one, really, that has happened so far, but Harry Potter is, of course, famous because of his successful assassination of the senator. I had the opportunity to talk to him and ask him why he had elected to kill Salome, and apparently there was nothing left to do in that story arc other than kill her. I proposed the notion that there was more story, but others in the channel that I was visiting suggested otherwise, saying, nope, Salome had been mined for all the information she was going to share. The only thing left was for the Imperial termination order to be carried out. They offered money, and Harry Potter capitalized. Guess you can't fault a guy for that. Alright. I mean, if you're going to murder someone on an Imperial order, well, technically it's not Imperial, technically it's a bounty. But it was nice getting a chance to talk to yet another commander with some notoriety. I have to say, that's getting easier and easier these days, it seems, perhaps because the population in Elite is on decline. at least the consistently playing population, the user base continues to expand, according to the latest data shared online. Okay, let's have a look at the system we are in. There should be a memory served, large gas giant with appropriate minerals. So we'll head back there now and continue our mission. Oh, one more thing we should do before we leave. Check our squadron for additional no, Mr. Commander Osgood has not been on in a while. Director Trium, of course, is playing almost daily. We're still aligned with the Dark Wheel, and influence continues to increase. We are engaged in launch process. Initialized. I believe it is momentarily.
Classification of placements active and tracking organization.
Detach is good. Regulate speed until outside the exclusion zone.
Landing gear retracted.
Departing MacArthur Gateway.
All clear. Till next time, Commander.
Frameshift drive charging. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, fighter is going live. Fighter is live. Awaiting orders.
Escort fighter has been deployed. Where's our prospector? There it is. We have to alter our configuration. Fire groups don't seem to be configured properly. Prospector limpet. Pulse wave is correct. Okay, that should be what we want. Almost. We don't want to have detailed surface scanner configured thus. I guess the seismic charges, no. Surface scanner. We'll do it that way. Okay.
Prospector limpet engaged.
And as was suspected,
Asteroid scan complete.
seismic charges. Okay, let's see what we got here. Asteroid fissure average. Average. Okay.
Detonation sequence initiated.
And we have a match, so we will withdraw to behind this other rock here. A little over a minute to go.
Detonation in 10 seconds. expired. Prospector limpet engaged. Asteroid scan complete. Incoming mission critical message. Prospector limpet engaged. Asteroid scan complete. Prospector limpet engaged.
And we have another winner.
Asteroid scan complete.
Okay. Doing well tonight so far. Well, let's do this, I guess. I'll do it over here. There's an asteroid fissure, high strength required.
10 seconds. Sensor disruption. Cargo scoop deployed. Collector limpet expired. Programming limpet Trium. Expired. Programming limpet Trium. Collector limpet expired. Asteroid scan complete. Programming rocket drone. Prospector limpet engaged. Asteroid scan complete. Programming rocket drone. Prospector limpet failed. Programming rocket drone. Programming rocket drone. Prospector limpet engaged. Programming rocket drone. Prospector limpet failed. Asteroid scan complete. Prospector limpet engaged. Asteroid scan complete. Cargo scope rejected. Programming rocket drone. Prospector limpet failed. Prospector limpet engaged. Programming rocket drone. Prospector limpet failed. Asteroid scan complete. Prospector limpet engaged. Asteroid scan complete. Collector limpet expired. expired. Asteroid scan complete. Program command control. Prospector limpet engaged.
Piece of crap.
Asteroid scan complete. Program command control. Prospector limpet engaged. Asteroid scan complete. Program command control. Prospector limpet engaged. Asteroid scan complete. Program command control. Prospector limpet engaged. Asteroid scan complete. Program command control. Prospector limpet failed. Prospector
There you are.
engaged. Asteroid scan complete.
Oh, we're out of range for the seismic charge. This one's spinning a wee bit fast.
Detonation sequence initiated.
Strength. Average.
Detonation in 10 seconds. Chronoscope deployed. liquid drum. Expired. Programming liquid drum. Programming liquid drum.
Well, let's have a look at the web and see what it tells us about places to sell this stuff. Systems and stations. Nearest. Let's see. Commodities, void opals. Commodity market.
Collector liquid expired.
Let's see. 26 light years. Nope, we have to go to Dark Water Station. Yeah, it's in the stopover system. I'll have to see where the hell that is. Less colorful, eh? I'll do one more mining run, at least. It's a prison colony system. And it's near Sol.
expired.
Hey,
Good afternoon.
what are you up to tonight?
Good evening.
How's your hockey?
I was killing and healing and just gonna buy a new Corvette.
Oh, good for you. I'm making tons of money.
Oh, tons.
Tons of money. I went and found a double void opal hotspot inside a planetary ring system in near the starport I was parked in. And it's in the LHS 346 system, planet 1A in the ring. And they have overlapping void opal hotspots. So that means double your yield if you go into the region where you have, coverage for both hotspots. And I'm finding a much higher instance than usual of void opal mountains, and I've been able to gather about 55 units so far.
Nice.
So,
I'm glad.
and then I'm going to go to the stopover system, which is 42 light years away from here, and dump it all off for 1.6 mil per unit. So, it should be lots of money. Then I don't know. I was thinking maybe go and do some work for Felicia.
Oh, yeah.
I was also talking, you'll never guess who I was talking to today.
Alcatraz.
Harry Potter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What did he say?
He explained why he killed Salome. Satisfactory rationale. I mean, there was no more, he was quite sure there was no more information coming out of her, and the Empire had a huge bounty on her, so he thought he'd take advantage. If he didn't do it, someone else was going to, so.
Cool.
So if you have to murder someone, I mean, I guess that's as good a reason as any, but... Technically, it wasn't murder, it was a bounty. Because the Empire had a warrant out on her, so... They don't just usually go around killing senators without reason, so... But, well, I don't know. They didn't really have a good reason to kill her, but anyway, they killed her anyway. So he collected on that, and what else? Oh yeah, we were discussing the Thargoids, trying to decipher their language, which was an interesting conversation. So I used some of my meager linguistics ability, which is only undergrad is all I've ever studied linguistics. But we were trying to figure out if the Thargoids actually used the printed icons for anything other than marking rank, because he discovered, Harry Potter discovered that certain symbols, like the more complex the symbol, the much harder the interceptor got. So he figured that the more complex markings on an interceptor meant that particular interceptor held a high-ranking individual and would be in command of, like, it would be more skilled in chasing you down and engaging in battle and whatnot, and that was his.
This is not the first time I've heard of this, but I'm not surprised that he's onto something there.
So we were discussing, does that go further? Because the Thargoid language looks very ornate, like their print language looks very ornate. And I raised the point, well, it's got to be more than just rank, because if you look, there's little flanges and shit coming off the circles, and they probably mean something. They wouldn't just like splotch it up just to make it look like ink blots. They're doing it because it means something, right? So we decided, it was agreed that there was at least the possibility there was It was used for both rank and for printed language, but as for printed language, confirmation will only come if we can somehow associate the printed symbols with subjects, objects, and or verbs in grammar. So you'd need ideally you'd need 3 ideograms next to one another, right? If you get 3 of them, then you probably have a subject, an object, and a verb. But you might only get 2, but you need at least 2. I don't think you could have a whole sentence in just one. Mind you, there are 3 rings inside the Thargoid ideogram, so it's entirely possible you could just get 1. But you have to link, the point is you have to link the ideogram somehow with the concept of a subject, object, or verb. If you can do that, then you've got proof that, okay, this is more than just rank, it's got to do with language as well, and concepts. So at that point you have to start worrying about how the hell are we going to translate this. Remember that movie Arrival?
The one with they were inside the ship and they took the man lift up to go and talk to it.
Yeah, it was like the septapods, right? So they had 7 limbs,
Right.
and they used ink. They used a kind of circular ink blot. It's
Right.
the Thargoids strike me as the same kind of deal, you know, where you've got like, okay, I don't know how they inscribe their language, but it's got to be something like that, where they either excrete. Now, the other thing was, one of the other people said, well, one of the other chatters in the channel said, well, maybe it's got something to do with nature. And I said, well, languages don't usually have anything to do directly with nature. Like, they're abstract constructs. They're the product of sentience and intelligence. We can therefore infer that this has less to do with the nature of the, like, even the septapods in Arrival, even they, you know, yes, they could ooze ink and they could manufacture circular blots of ink that mapped to language. But that didn't mean that was somehow like a natural byproduct of their existence. They didn't have any concept of time. There was, like, you know, not in human terms anyway. They basically mapped their existence out all at once and didn't consider the possibility that for some species it was one event flowing logically in, you know, to another. It just, when events happen, they all happen simultaneously. Like, you live your whole life all the time that you're alive, right? Whereas a human being lives his or her life in the moment. And there are events before that moment, and there are events after. For a septapod, that's not the case. So how the Thargoids perceive time, we don't know, and that may also be relevant. But there may be other dynamics in science fiction that would apply as well. My astrobiology is not my strongest subject, obviously, because, well, we don't know very much about it, but I'm very interested in it. So anyway, we had a pretty interesting discussion about the possibility of the Thargoids using this language for print communication. We don't know how they transmit ideas to one another. We talked about the structures and what they might mean in the future. Could they convert to base ships? Harry Potter thinks that base ships are a likely development in the game. That at some point these structures are going to lift themselves off the planet and you're going to have, like, fucking base ships, because we don't know of any ships that carry queens yet, right? Although the language may indicate the rank of a queen is on board, we don't know that. We also know that there's at least 2, possibly more factions based on the markings. They could be indicating factional association as well, to some degree. And it would be helpful to know if there's a print equivalent for that reason as well, because then you could associate, you know, individual ships that are marked differently with individual factions based on the markings and what they translate to in conventional terms. Or, I mean, They probably wouldn't map to any word in our language, but we could assign meaning to them as we saw fit. Basically, a human-Thargoid hybrid language. Just so that humans could relate to them a little better. We discussed the Guardians. The Guardians are also, were able to communicate with the Thargoids, but they never found the ability to find common ground with them. And insofar as how the Thargoids regard humans, the notion was proposed by someone that, oh well, maybe the Thargoids don't even see humanity as anything more than ants to be stepped on, as not a serious threat. But the thing is, there is a group of Thargoids that hovers in the Pleiades and is non-aggressive. Like, they're territorial, but they're not very aggressive. And there's another group that is very aggressive, and they've invaded the bubble. But there may be more than one of those. We don't know yet.
Klaxons, I think, is the one.
Is that one that we've got? Okay. Anyway, so there may be two dominant factions, and a bunch of other factions are just kind of on the side or whatever, but I think Harry Potter was also...
Have a science class, a warrior class, an exploration class, whatever. Right?
Maybe that's a caste system, might be possible.
Or, yeah, a caste, or maybe some of the families are in charge of certain things.
That's also possible. We have a lot more of investigation to do before we get into their social structures and how they relate to one another, but the beginnings of that work are...
If you killed a certain caste or a certain house, I think they call it house.
Yeah.
Then the next time an interceptor from that house comes across you, he's just one step more aggressive.
Well, we called them in this conversation, we called them variants, because that's how the game labels them, sort of. It calls it a variant somewhere. Anyway, I think the Codex mentions it as a variant. But the variants are led by queens, right? So now it begs the question, what happens when a queen gets old and two queens get together and have a queen offspring? Does that mean there's a new variant created, or is that junior queen now going to become the new head of the household? Or is that thought of as being too big a threat, and we're going to have to, like, not let that happen, send them out of the nest and let them go forage on their own, a new variant? Like, what's the Thargoid attitude on this? Like, how do new queens get built, under what circumstances? What are their mating practices? Under what circumstances would that be allowed to occur? Because they can asexually reproduce drones until they're blue in the face. All they need is to consume energy, whatever they use for food. So we're learning a great deal more about them anyway, and it was a very interesting conversation, but it just shows you how little we know about them, how, and that there's so much more to be discovered, and there's a lot of room for Frontier to, like, write in a role. We're also on the cusp of the second event storyline beginning, and the consensus seemed to be amongst the canon players that it was going to be about the Alliance. So I don't know how true that is. There's no real source on this stuff, it's just rumor, but the expectation seems to be that it's the Alliance storyline that's next, ahead of the Federation one. Because the Imperial one was Drew Wagar, right? And Salome. So that one's over. And then they've got Alliance and Federation, and then they're going to do a Xeno at the end, where they might introduce a new alien race, or they might, I don't know. It could go any one of a million different ways. But I guess the Alliance storyline would have to have been written already, to some degree. And then there'd have to be room, of course, for edits by frontier to change the storyline as suits the game mechanics. So anyways, that's beginning right away. That hopefully there'll be some interesting stuff there.
Mission objective detected.
Looks like Alioth is going to and an alliance fleet might be forming. There's talk of getting rid of Kincaid as president and letting Mayan run as prime minister and become a little bit more powerful in his prime ministerial role, but he'll be given a navy that the council will run instead of the admirals. The admirals will serve the assembly of the alliance, a new model, I would imagine. I'm expecting something very Canadian or British to sort of, or Australian to, something from the British parliamentary system to like be reflected in the game somehow, because it's written by and played dominantly by English people for some reason. But anyway, actually, I don't even know like what the population is of English versus North Americans, but also coming out of that whole crisis with what's his name this week, I got some interest generated on the Canon channel in my app, so I should have some beta testers there. If no one from the none of the content providers of Ascorbius's group doesn't want to participate, well, you know. I also wrote a blog article about the events and talked about net etiquette on Discord in general, because I'm not the only one who's had this happen where there's like been multiple channels and people freaking out for one reason or another about conduct, where rules of etiquette were cited or whatever reason was cited for getting rid of them. Basically, it's an act of, to my mind, it's an act of causing people discomfort or harm without really good reasons. Like they're getting too emotionally invested. The message.
Yeah, it's just a game, buddy, right?
Right. Exactly. And not only that, but it's, you know, like surely. I see this actually as being, when I saw a CNET article today, I was watching CNET and participating again in the CNET video programming, and I asked the question, well, is Facebook on its way out? And they picked up on it, and they said, well, yeah, kind of, because although Facebook's user base is growing, it's another one of these situations, well, how much time do people spend using Facebook? Like, everyone has a Facebook account, yes, but that doesn't mean that we're all, you know, pro-Facebook. It doesn't take anything to have a Facebook account and let it sit there dormant. I mean, a lot of those people are probably even dead. I mean, you know, deceased. And then you have a bunch of deceased people with accounts still. It's not automatic that they shut down your account after a period of disuse. So they can always claim that they're growing their user base, but, you know, are they really? And there's been so many scandals. The Royal Bank of Canada queried Facebook and got a whole bunch of messages from various users out of Facebook just on request alone. Additionally, there was the report from Parliament, from the Canadian Parliament this week. I think it was released just today, where the Privacy Commissioner got all pissed off with Facebook in it about, you know, their various privacy violations. Also, the third story that came out in Canada about this was the hate speech in Quebec. You know, of course, there's a language barrier, but Facebook isn't doing anything about it, and yet they're operating with impunity while these hate groups sit there and get a bunch of right-wingers into Quebec politics using Facebook. Right? So that isn't allowed in most countries. It's certainly not allowed in the States. They've been very aggressive in the States about it, but in Canada it seems to be okay. And Facebook is doing nothing to shut those groups down the way that they should be. So Facebook has some issues with scandals. They never seem to really go away. People are looking for alternatives, and Discord is one of the natural alternatives in social media. Because Twitter is a very narrow focused thing. No one really wants to take the time and effort to maintain a blog, unless it's just for the occasional article, but it's not something that people don't just want to sit there and always write. And I think that there is a desire for something a little bit more fast-paced, and Discord is filling that void right now. But unfortunately, unlike Facebook, Discord has a bunch of tools to reinforce the clique mentality, right? So we have a server that we create in the Discord system, and their server has an admin, and the admin can boot off after he has like a following, whoever he wants, like a kind of cult leader. And there's nothing anyone can, there's no democracy, there's no say in it or input from the other users. Facebook can kind of do the same thing, but it basically, if you get an admin and if you get an admin of a Facebook channel, Facebook watches them, and it doesn't put up with the same kind of behavior with impunity the way that Discord stays, hands off. And people complain about it, but it's helped build Facebook's, communities. And it's become a selling feature for Facebook. So Facebook's got a lot better management system for this kind of thing than Discord does, but Facebook has other problems. And Discord, whereas Discord is sort of like taking the attitude, well, we're not going to interfere with channel management. And we don't really care what goes on in a channel. If you're promoting hate, or if you're forming a religious cult, that's fine, or just a clique, that's okay too, and you can kick off whoever you want. You just manage your own server, right? But not everyone gets to manage a server, and like I said, I'm not alone. There have been lots of people who have had very unpleasant experiences. In some cases, they've lost touch with people that they considered friends because of this. So I wrote a bit of a net etiquette article talking about the etiquette management of Discord and the problems I see with it. And I pointed out that Facebook, the decline of Facebook has likely got something to do with this, but it was speculative. Of course, I don't have any hard data. I also took down all the content. I was loath to do this, but in order to keep everyone happy, I decided to respond to Scorpius by taking down all the video content produced during the 2 weeks I was on his server. Just in case there's anything there because Squaddle caught a couple of more, he found a grand total of 3 cases where there was chatter from their channel, their server, on my video streams. And I'm sure I thought in at least one of them I had shut it off deliberately inside of Discord, but it didn't work. So it just carried through anyway. And part of the other thing that was kind of mysterious is the user, how they have those user avatars that go up if you don't have VR? Well, I don't think anyone on a Scorpius's channel considered the possibility that I can't see anything coming from Discord inside my VR helmet. None of that content comes through, so I actually don't even fucking know that this is going on. There's nothing inside VR that tells me this. And it's only after the fact I realize, well, you can get it to work, but you have to run third-party tools and whatnot, and it's just too much hassle for me to bother with. So, yeah, mea culpa. I did at least on one occasion announce that I was, going to be streaming the channel, but I thought I had made the request, as I said earlier, to members of the channel and got permission to do so. Now, maybe I'm mistaken, or maybe I'm smoking crack, I don't know, but it was a mistake, and again, even if in the worst of worst possible cases, it doesn't justify freaking out. Like, this guy I was so surprised when I got the report that he had just completely he went mental, like, He got really pissed off about it, and it's like, it's a matter of etiquette. How terrible could it be? I didn't shoot your dog. So, anyway, like I said, I'm not alone. There's lots of people have this happen. But as Squaddle said, I should try harder to look at it from, this guy's perspective, and I've certainly done so, but I just cannot. I'm not very good with people this way. I can't really. I know how I reason, but trying to figure out how other people think is like, there's so many variables. It's very difficult for me to empirically try to conclude, okay, this is what this person's thinking inside their head. This is what they're really. Because his ban message to me sounded perfectly sedate and calm, but apparently in subsequent channel discourse, he was anything but calm. And now almost no one from that channel, once again, there's a couple of cases where people do talk to me, obviously, but in most cases people don't want anything to do with me because, either they feel the same way, and that's the implication, but it's also entirely possible they're just, kind of fearful that they might be aligned with me somehow, and that they might be perceived as taking my side over his, and they aren't sure what result that would yield, given his reaction. So, anyway. But that's going to be the end of it. I'm going to post that blog article and then move on once again.
Please move on.
Yes, dear, I'm moving on. I just wanted to let you know that there were some points that you made that I thought were very good, and I kind of picked up on them in the article, but I didn't credit you directly because I know you don't want to be mentioned. It has nothing to do. You know what? The article doesn't have anything to do with the incident in question. It's just about network etiquette, basically. Etiquette on Discord, in general.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I took a big break from Discord right at New Year's, right at the start of the year. I decided that I wasn't gonna actively participate in most groups that I'm in, and I was just gonna do a little more reading than typing, just for my own good. Because it doesn't get me anywhere for my own service, my own purposes.
No, and the only reason, the only real reason I do get some information from Discord, but mostly it's just I want beta testers for my app, right? And I don't know where else to go. If there were another place, another service I could turn to, obviously I would. But I'm not going to go do this on Facebook. I think what I'm just going to end up doing is posting to GitHub, and we'll see what happens, right? But
that sounds like you need to try to join some player factions.
Well,
join and leave, and no one cares whether you leave player factions and come and go.
Yeah, I'm kind of nervous about the whole thing now. I guess I got a little bit turned off by my experiences thus far, but if they really are germane to Discord. But people like Discord. I mean, it's got high quality audio in a place, where, quite frankly, if Frontier fixed the audio here so that there wasn't beeping and chirping and all kinds of other bullshit analog simulated communications drivel, I think people would probably not use Discord quite so frequently to communicate for elite purposes. There would still be elite servers, obviously, but a lot more would be done just online. And quite frankly, the people I've met just talking in game have been, I'm on good terms with all of them as far as I know. They didn't get all pissed off with me when we were in Wing or anything. There were one or two people that were kind of puck bags, but like you say, you just bounce and move on, and you find someone who's not a puck bag.
Yeah.
So it all happens very quickly, and it's all about the management, I think, is what I'm trying to say here. So that's what's going on. But I like this Thargoid discussion. That was I mean, the only exception, the major exception this week was definitely that Thargoid talk. That was very.
I want to talk about the synthesis. There was a synthesis recipe that's been discovered in the game.
What's this about?
You want to discuss that?
What's this about?
If you go into synthesis now, there's 2 new entries that we can't use yet because the weapons don't exist.
Oh, really?
We can synthesize, and it's telling us what the recipe is to synthesize ammo and standard ammo, but there's no premium ammo.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And the thing is that it's advanced missiles, advanced multi-cannon, it's called. But we don't know exactly what that is. But we do know that there's the Interstellar Initiative coming, and it's going to have rewards. So if the 2 new weapons are either from that or from the introduction of Core Dynamics or whoever it is that's hooking up with Ram-Ta.
Yeah.
So what it is if these weapons that you buy, you put them on your ship and you can go and kill NPCs all day with them. They're meant for NPC battles.
Yeah.
But you can synthesize ammo that does AX damage and turns your ship into more of a well-rounded fighting machine. Because it's whatever synthesis you want to use that you go into that battle.
No, really? That's
Makes
neat.
perfect sense.
So I have here AX.
They've introduced it.
I see here AX remote flak munitions. That's new, isn't it? Never saw that there before.
Configurable, it says. Configurable, explosive, and small caliber are the 2 new ones.
Yeah, I don't see those in my list, but I don't think I have the configurable small caliber. Yes, I do have them. You're right. And configurable explosive. There they are.
So that's what everybody's been sort of wondering about, is what these things exactly, how they work, where we get them, when we get them.
Do they work now?
Put it on existing multi-cannons. Of course, everyone's tried. It
doesn't seem to do anything. No.
So it's just another layer in the ongoing war, to try to bring new players that don't want to grind to get a Gauss cannon.
Although, if you want configurable explosive munitions standard, which is the only upgrade, the maximum upgrade I can see here, you need Guardian Tech for this. You need Guardian Power Cell, Conduit, and Technology Component. Lots, yeah. But I have lots of power cells.
So the other thing is that there's a possibility, we all know that there's a limit of 4 experimental weapons on every ship. Does this open up that lock? Because if you just have 4 Gauss cannons and that's it for your experimental, can you not modify existing multi-cannons and missiles to break that barrier?
Oh my God. Yeah, this could be another big frontier mess.
So it's hard to tell what direction they're going, but I'm ready. I went and farmed some of those items, make sure I had lots.
Yeah, you should have seen this guy, one of the users in the channel today on Canon, Mike Hawk. He likes taking, these sort of sexual sounding names like Mike Hawk, and he's got, I don't know, he listed a whole bunch off anyway. It was kind of funny, but he's using Mike Hawk on Discord today, and I've seen that name used before. I think that's what he is on Discord. Anyway, he's in there, and you should have just heard him go pipe off about this frontier business, like how they just fuck up every upgrade. Like, there's bugs. There's no beta test. There's just bug release after bug release after bug release, and they're never really completely fixed. Consequently,
They add more features before they clean up the old ones, and it's
Yeah.
cluttersome.
And it's yeah, exactly. You've got now, but you know, it's as if they're in some big hurry, and he thinks that part of the reason is because they haven't allocated enough staff. But what non-software developers don't realize is that your project size, like after you have typical development team has one project manager, usually one architect. You might have one senior developer, 2 intermediate, and 3 or 4 junior developers assigned to a big feature set on a project. And each team gets a feature for the whole application if it's a large application. That's how Microsoft is doing it anyway. And these teams, I mean, you can manage them, like one person can manage a set number of people, and you can have, you know, kind of a pyramidal structure where there's a director leading, you know, managers who are leading in turn team leaders who lead project managers, and project managers and technical architects are sort of equivalently ranked in 2 different tracks, but they collaborate with one another, and then the team does what those 2 people say. And after a while, like when you have 6, 7, 8, 9 sets of these teams, it becomes too difficult to actually transmit instructions from the top of the pyramid through to the teams and get the results that you're looking for in a consistent way, without a great deal of overhead and a great deal of management, most of which small to medium-sized companies just never implement. And Frontier is in the medium-sized company category. Like, it doesn't have 100,000 people or more working for it. So, in fact, it's probably between small and medium-size. If it's got like 400 staff. A lot of those people will be testers, some of them will be feature implementers and designers, some will be graphic artists, some will be, yes, project. Yeah. So, I mean, and then there's architects who will be devoted strictly to game architecture, and then architects devoted to features, and, you know, you're just a gigantic mix of people, right? But managing all this in terms of timeline can get to be very cumbersome. And if you're in a big hurry to get software out the door, yeah, you're going to start dropping bugs and saying, well, this isn't severe enough because we've got a workaround for this particular feature that's not running ideally. So, I mean, he's bitching and complaining, and I'm sympathetic on the one hand, because I've done the same thing myself and wondered, you know, do these people even have testers, you know, at times? And others, it's like, well, when you think about it, you know, there's a lot of people that have to be involved with a project of this scale. Now, they claim that they've got 2/3 of their developer core working on the 2020 architecture, right? So this is probably something. What's that?
You just announced a brand new game.
Well, that's what I mean, is that they basically are rewriting the game so that it can expand.
Separate from the Elite game and Jurassic.
Oh yeah, they've got Jurassic World and Railroad Tycoon, and they've got, like, you know, all these other.
Coaster, Railroad 3, and
Yeah.
now they've just released and said Planet Zoo is on its way.
Yeah, well,
that's where everybody went.
Yeah.
To this new title, and that's why I'm not happy, because of if they would have fixed everything that's wrong with Elite and made everything right using those resources and then worked on their game, I would be so happy. But it's the opposite.
I don't think that what they're doing, part of the reason for this is they haven't really got, I don't know what David Robin's involvement is, but it's almost as if the leadership isn't there, like the vision has sort of taken a back seat somehow, because the people who run the company now somehow believe that Elite is not either critical enough or it doesn't make enough money. And a business is there to make money, right? Generate wealth. That's the whole point of a corporation. So if it's not doing that, it's not fulfilling its mandate. And right now, we've gone 3 years without any kind of charges to the user base. When there's a charge, if we got new features, like if we got atmospheric planets, and they've already said whatever's coming in 2020 they will ding us for. And if it's worth it, no one is going to object to that. But they need to charge enough money and make sure they generate enough revenue, and then not just forget about Elite for 3 years after that, right? You need to continually expand it. I think also part of the problem, it goes back to the fact it was crowdfunded from an earlier stage, and the game that we have today is not designed to, they've expanded it as far as it was envisioned ever to go. And they can't really, without a large amount of work, overhaul what they've got. So they're redesigning everything, you know, from the ground up, and re-implementing, you know, the environment, and in a new way that will accommodate the kinds of changes that they would like to see in the next 3 to 5 years. So before 2025, let's say. They've got features and developments already scheduled through the end of 2021 into 2022. So we know that 2020 isn't the end of it, that there's still more coming after that. Beyond that, they haven't said anything. You know, they haven't told us exactly what's being developed or what features we can expect, and that's got a lot to do with setting expectations and making sure that, you know, whatever is delivered on is not going to become, you know, like, that they don't earn the reputation of being a company that produces vaporware, which is starting to actually impact, I think, Star Citizen a little bit. Although Star Citizen has been very ambitious and has achieved a great deal in the 2 years it's been a thing, right? 2 or 3, I don't know how many years it's been, but however long it's been shorter than Elite, and it's you know, Elite also, Frontier has its eye on 2020 because there's a lot of shit happening in 2020. By June of 2020, Star Citizen might go commercial. We're looking at you know, potential competitors to Frontier. And it doesn't have to be the same game to be a competitor. It can be a competitor just drawing user attention away from Elite, you know, just based on personal preference. People will buy both Star Citizen and Elite. I'm sure that will happen. I don't think I'm going to be one of them unless they implement a VR solution of some sort in Star Citizen. I'm told that's not likely to happen right off the bat in 2020. So they're already going to be starting behind Elite with whatever they come up with in 2020, because Elite is committed to VR going forward. But I don't see.
Not all of it. I don't think they're going to make a VR Elite for PlayStation.
No,
5 or...
not unless PlayStation does something with its VR to make it a little bit more copacetic with the other flavors of VR that are out there. There are ways to get Elite VR working on something as basic as an Android cell phone. I know that. I've seen it done. But, which is, you know, really fucked up. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work on every platform. It doesn't work on Xbox. You know, Xbox has no real plans to implement VR at this point either. It's hard to say when VR is going to be ubiquitous and really, you know, become an industry standard so that everyone has to have it, kind of thing. In fact, I don't think there'll ever be a day where VR will be an absolute necessity. But that being said, I do see a day when it will be available everywhere. It is popular enough with some people like myself to definitely earn, you know, a place in the majority of games, if not, especially flight sims and simulator type games, or shoot 'em ups even, where you're the guy with the rifle or the guy with the sword and shield or the magic user or whatever in a D&D scenario, or just custom VR games like Beat Saber, you know, which are designed strictly for VR and don't have console equivalents.
people play that game. It's just so...
It's so mindless, I know.
In real life.
It's so fucking mindless. It really is. Yeah. And to see it streamed, like, what the hell are you doing? Like, you see these people dancing around, and it's just like, okay, is this...
Waka, waka.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, I've been to the club before, I've seen people dance, you know, this is nothing to write home about. Plus, you're tethered to a computer. I mean, your freedom of movement is kind of impugned a little bit by the fact that, you know, if you were spinning around too fast, you get all tangled up in the cord and fall over. So, so there are limits as to how far this can go. The next version of Oculus is about to be released, however, and it's cordless. It's also, by the way, it's standalone. It doesn't have, it will work with a PC, of course, but it won't have a cord that you have to plug into. It's wireless. So that will enable the game to be a lot more free, and the controllers are also have been slightly redesigned. They look a little bit closer to the HTC Vive, but the circles are at a 90-degree angle to the buttons, whereas in the HTC Vive the circles are pointing directly ahead off the controller.
Is that the Oculus S?
No, it's the Oculus, what the hell I can't remember the name of what it's called. It's brand new. You go to their website now, it's all over their damn website. But I don't think it's S. But, so anyway, I wanted to bring you this news and see what you had to say about the Thargoid markings. So that's not the first time you've heard that. Have you heard anything about language, the Thargoid language, or anything more about lore with...
Just a bit of an interest. Someone pretty much standing where you are, looking in the same direction.
Yeah.
Just an interest, not any kind of facts or... I've seen a couple of charts of the house icons and the differences, but no correlation effect or anything. We don't know what we're looking at. We just know we're looking at something.
And it might be...
way back when it was new, when people just figured that out.
Yeah, but this is... now it seems like the game AI has been... Like, the game AI was severely updated after that. So now the Thargoids are tougher, and they're like, you know, their pods are like causing real damage on smaller ships, and, you know, you've got these frickin' special ops people in the human conflict zones that are coming after you and can't die, or they can die, but they just reappear again. So, there's been a lot of AI updates. And now there seems to be an even bigger correlation between these markings on the side of Thargoid interceptors and the type of AI you're confronted with. It's not as simple as just like, oh, and, you know, we'll have like easy, medium, and hard. It's like, okay, well, some of them will chase you, others don't hunt, but will fight defensively. Others will, you know, be very skilled at fighting defensively, but, you know, they'll keep their distance away from you and chip away a little bit at you bit by bit until you're dead, you know. So there's different strategic models that are now being exhibited. I think that was the observation that was being made.
Okay. What do we got here? So we're in voice chat.
Yeah.
At the main menu, but I want to leave voice chat. But I don't know how to do that.
You want to what? You want to end voice chat, or?
Yeah.
Well, you go to the chat menu. Let's have a look here. You have to click on options, and you go leave voice comms group.
Options.
underneath my name in the chat thing.
Kick from group, but I don't want to do that. This is the
Well, it's not permanent. It's not like we can never speak again now. Anyway, if we're done, I'll let you go. I gotta go find another.
I want to try to do this and leave the chat. I don't think.
Okay, well, leave it.
Figured it out yet.
I'll wait till you figure it out then.
I'll go back to naming.
Okay, you do that.
Options. Network? No, there's nothing under options.
Oh, shit.
So I see you. But that's pertaining to my friends group.
Okay, let's do this. Pulse wave and a prospector. Ah! Pulse wave. And there's nothing. Except a big fucking sketchy cloud that I created because I blew up some asteroids. You should see the clouds here. I've like taken down like 4 of these mountains already in this game. Hello.
Yeah, just checking to make sure the chat works.
Yeah, the chat works. You can still text me whenever you want, but voice is way faster way to communicate.
Back into the title, I think.
You have to keep in mind, voice is much faster than typing. I don't like it when people type like long, lengthy diatribes to me because it's like, okay, I'm not going to just sit there and read your essay while I'm playing this game. If we can talk voice, then we should probably do that.
It's still not. What?
Okay, there's a rock here.
Oh, here we go. It's under. Now that you've talked, it came up. And now there's an options to leave the voice comms group. Okay, that's fine. In game, it still works normally.
Okay.
But at the main menu, you used to be able to leave the voice comms group.
Oh. No, you can't.
It doesn't have the option. It has the options to kick you from my private group. But that's
Well, no. You don't want to do that.
well, that kind of options and under.
Is that where you were tonight? You were on your own server?
I don't remember. It's private. It's just the first one on the list there.
Oh, you know what the first one on my list is? Mobius. I haven't been on Mobius in like months. That Mobius is where you go if you want to play PvE only, and where people aren't supposed to shoot you, but they do anyway.
Prospector limpet engaged.
Here, we.
Screen cap this. Where would you like to see this screen cap?
Oh, you can put it through the Discord,
I'm
if,
not gonna do just.
or you can put it on the website. On the SharePoint site that we have. But it's up to you.
And Piper is here. Interesting. Okay, so here it is on your general chat.
Okay.
This is what I see when I click on your name.
Did Pan Piper join my channel? Join my server?
At 4:55 today.
Holy crap, I didn't know that he did that, because I thought he must not have seen the invite. That invite thing doesn't always show up right away, I don't think. Because I was trying to invite people and people were...
There's no option to leave the voice comms right there. It's all just player management directly. It says you're in open play. It says what systems you're in.
Yeah.
But there's nothing there that works for me to leave the voice group. If I go to groups, it's just your group.
I see. So what you're saying is you're trapped with me here.
Yeah. Go back in the game, or just quit the game.
Jesus, that must be terrible. Like, you can tell Squaddle was terrible. I was trapped with Ross in his chat, and I couldn't get out.
Here we go. How about if I click on myself?
Oh, sure. Click on yourself. See what happens. I didn't even know you could click on yourself. I can't click on myself. Oh. No.
Prospector limpet engaged.
Would you like some hydrogen peroxide?
Asteroid scan complete.
I can give you some hydrogen, but it's pretty worthless.
The whole lack of the chat window, unless you hover your mouse over it in the main menu, is a big step backwards, I think. You should have the option to read the chat no matter where you are. And you can, but you have to hover your mouse over the thing.
Well, you know what? A translucent chat window is a bit wider might be a good idea. I don't know. Right now, the chat window is so freaking bright that, like... In fact, everything in VR is so bright. Like, there are stars, which... Some of the stars, especially F-type stars that I fly too close to, it's like, holy fuck. It's like you're looking straight into the sun. You're gonna go blind if you, like, stare at it too long. I swear to God. Okay, we got a nice big fat yellow thing here. It's the golden rock. Let's see what the golden rock will give us. It probably won't work. This thing's spinning around like a roulette wheel. No. And it's too damn small. I don't know why I go after these rocks that are like... I've only got enough limpets for one more mountain anyway. I used up all 70 of my limpets running around here. Scanning rocks. Goddamn rocks. Oh shit, what did I do here? Fuck, there's clouds all over the place. I can't really... Hang on. I'm going the wrong way. First of all, let's go back to the planet. Where the hell did my planet go? People keep taking away my planet. It's pissing me off.
Time to go get your girlfriend up. I guess I gotta...
Oh, is it that time again? Alrighty. He's gone. Ah, I'm by myself again. Oh, he went offline too. Holy shit. I thought he was trapped here. He's stuck in these rings with me for all eternity. Where in fuck's name? Okay, enough of this. Put that cargo thing away. We'll just go over here. Yeah. I don't know. Well, time to get out vanity cam again and see if it'll work. Hang on. How the hell do we do this cam thing again? Oh yeah, we have to do this. ship controls T6. Okay, so T5, T6. Okay. So, aha! Perfect. Oh, it's not going to be all that helpful. Oh, look at this. Yeah, I don't know. Just wait a second here. No. Do that one. You don't get very much out of that. Oh, there's one over there. Here. Come on, nice big fat void opal mountain, please. Or at least something.
Prospector limpet
Oh,
engaged.
you fat slut.
Asteroid scan complete.
Here, let's try this one up here.
Programming limpet drone.
Come on.
Prospector limpet engaged.
Nope.
Asteroid scan complete. Programming limpet drone. Prospector limpet failed. Programming limpet drone. Prospector limpet engaged.
There's this
Asteroid scan complete.
bright one up there.
Programming limpet drone. Prospector limpet failed.
No, it's gonna be gone for a while.
Prospector limpet engaged. Asteroid scan complete.
Let's try this one.
Programming limpet drone. Prospector limpet failed.
That's probably a no-go either.
Prospector limpet engaged. Asteroid scan complete.
Down there.
Programming limpet drone. Prospector limpet failed.
I'll try this one.
Programming limpet drone. Prospector limpet failed. Prospector limpet engaged. Asteroid scan complete. Prospector limpet engaged. Asteroid scan complete. Prospector limpet engaged. Asteroid scan complete. Prospector limpet engaged. Asteroid scan complete.
Well, this is turning into a big waste of time. Come on, you pestering lummox.
Prospector limpet engaged. Asteroid scan complete.
Done a search.
Prospector limpet engaged. Asteroid scan complete. Programming limpet drone. Programming limpet drone. Prospector limpet failed. Prospector limpet engaged. Asteroid scan complete.
Okay, that's it, folks. We're headed back to base. Okay. Okay.
Message received. Starting docking procedures.
Product comply. Product
Fighter
comply.
is in the bay. Let's go, Commander.
Frameshift drive charging.
Well, I think we probably took the scenic route here, but it was not necessarily the best decision. This is a Class 2 gas giant, and it is pretty big, as you can see. And it slows your ship down quite a bit, traveling this close to it. We're still 0.45 light seconds from Darkwater Station. Current ETA is about 14 minutes 6 seconds at current speed. Hopefully soon we'll start picking up speed again as we move away from the planet, but things stand at the moment. Let's try moving our ship a little bit. Here all bloody night fighting with this thing. Cut our time down pretty good here. And we're finally pulling away from the giant Class 2 gas giant called Stopover Minor. And now we're slowing on approach to the station. And at last, we are arriving here at Darkwater Station.
Contact, Minor Dispatch. Good to have you with us, Commander.
We will need a shot cannon. Do we have another one? That's strange. And in the class 1, we have the Guardian Shard Cannon. repair limpet controller. Yeah, we'll bring that up. We need the decontamination limpet controller. And we need I'll be right back. Okay, and
message.
Alright, that's it everyone. It's 6/28/36 Zulu, 26 April 3305. I'm at Darkwater Station in the Luyten 34714 system? No, the stop orbit system, I beg your pardon. And that'll be it for tonight. Please visit my Twitter site where you can see this and other videos created by Commander Trium for your viewing pleasure. At twitter.com/commander_trium, that's CM as in Mike, DR_TRIUM as in Mike. There's also links there to our blog site. It contains articles related to the adventures of Commander Trium in the Elite Universe, and to our YouTube page, which hosts all of the videos as well. Encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube page as per usual. Have yourselves a fine evening, and fly safe, Commanders. Commander Trium, signing off.